The young man, who was in deep despair, had his head buried in his hands so that he didn't even hear the flutter of the bird's wings. When he looked up, he found the beautiful sapphire lying on the desk beside him. "I am beginning to be appreciated," he said. "This is from some admirer. Now I can finish my play." And he set to work with new hope. The next night, the swallow tried again. "I am come to bid you goodbye," he sang. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince, "won't you stay with me one night longer?" "It is winter," answered the swallow, "and the snow will soon be here. I have to go to Egypt where the sun is warm. Dear prince, I must leave you, but I will never forget you, and next spring I will bring you back 2 beautiful jewels in place of those you have given away." "In the square below," said the happy prince, "there stands a little match girl. She has dropped her matches in the gutter and they are all spoiled. Her father will beat her if she doesn't bring her some money, so she is crying. Pluck out my other eye and give it to her, and her father will not beat her." "I will stay with you just one night longer," said the swallow, "but I cannot pluck out your other eye." "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince, "do as I command you." So he plucked out the prince's other eye and darted down to the square with it. He swooped past the match girl and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand, and she ran home laughing. Then the swallow came back to the prince. "You are blind now," he said, "so I will stay with you forever." "No, little swallow," said the poor prince, "you must go away to Egypt." "I will stay with you forever," said the swallow. And he settled at the prince's feet and fell asleep. All next day, he sat on the prince's shoulder and told him stories of the wonderful things that he had seen in strange lands. "Dear little swallow," said the prince, "fly over my city and tell me what you see there." So the swallow circled over the great city and saw the rich making merry in their beautiful houses. And he flew into dark lanes and saw the white faces of starving children. Then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen. "I am covered with fine gold," said the prince. "You must take it off, leaf by leaf, and give it to the poor people of the city." Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow picked off, till the happy prince looked dull and grey. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold he brought to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosier, and they laughed and played. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder and colder, but he would not leave the prince. He loved him too well. At last, he knew that he was going to die. He had just enough strength to fly up to the prince's shoulder once more. "Goodbye, dear prince. Goodbye," he whispered. "I am glad that you are going to Egypt at last, little swallow," said the prince. "You've stayed here too long." "It is not to Egypt that I am going," said the swallow. And he kissed the happy prince and fell down dead at his feet. At that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue, as if something had broken. The leaden heart had snapped right in two. Early the next morning, the mayor was strutting through the square in company with the town councillors. As they passed the tall column, he looked up at the statue. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear," he said. "How shabby the happy prince looks." "How shabby indeed," echoed the town councillors. "It is a dead bird at his feet," the mayor continued. "We must issue an order that birds are not to be allowed to die here." The town clerk made a note. So they pulled down the statue of the happy prince. Then they melted it in a furnace, and the mayor held a meeting of the corporation to decide what was to be done with the metal. "We must have another statue," he said, "and of course it shall be a statue of me." "It shall be a statue of me," echoed each of the town councillors. "Not you, me," said the mayor. "Not you, me," echoed the councillors. And that was the start of a quarrel that went on for a very long time. "What a strange thing," said the foreman of the working men at the foundry. "You see, a broken heart would not melt in the furnace, and just get rid of it." And he threw it on a dust heap where it lay next to the body of the dead swallow. God looked down on the city and turned to one of his angels. "Bring me the two most precious things you can find," he said. The angel searched high and low in the woods and fields, in the great palaces and in the poor back streets of the city, until he found what he wanted. Then he returned to God, bringing him the leaden heart and the dead swallow. "You have chosen rightly," said God, "for in my garden of paradise this little bird shall sing forevermore, and in my city of gold the happy prince shall praise me."